It is, I think, the most democratic source of energy ever the man ever made use of, because it's everywhere in the same measure. It is in Africa, as in America, as in Asia, as in Oceania, as in anywhere.
Yeah, unlimited potential.
The potential is unlimited, exactly.
Imagine a world without gasoline or coal. No more pollution from burning fossil fuels. No more oil spills devastating our oceans and land. No more mining that scars the earth or utilizes unethical practices. A world where the air is clean, the skies are clear, and the natural environment remains beautiful. A future with unlimited clean energy for everyone. That is the promise of zero-point energy. This concept will revolutionize the way we think about energy, providing a limitless source that could power our world sustainably. Zero-point energy is the energy that is everywhere, all around us, all the time, even in empty space, like a giant hidden battery. It's a sea of fluctuating energy fields that, when harnessed, will provide an inexhaustible power source for all of mankind. Imagine cities powered entirely by this clean, limitless energy, and electric cars that never need to be recharged. This may sound like a dream for tomorrow, but it is here today. When we unlock the secrets of zero-point energy, we will pave the way for a new era of technological advancement and environmental sustainability. That's not only the promise of zero-point energy, but the promise of one man's lifetime mission to diffuse his breakthrough technology to the world.
My name is Andrea Rossi. I have worked for all my life in the field of energy. I started to study the ANR in the wave of the work of Pons and Fleischmann, trying to replicate the great effect. And then I have gone on with a series of try and error until we arrived to this last development that I think is important, because now we have prototypes that make energy in an SSM mode, where SSM means self-sustaining mode. This is a zero-point energy that comes from a device that reverses the difference of entropy. So instead of, along the third principle of thermodynamics, going into the increase of disorder if force or energy is not injected in a system, we use this principle to put in order electrons in a way that the difference of entropy of electrons is reversed. This difference of entropy generates energy, that is the zero-point energy, that is transferred to the electrons not in phase. I discovered that, in effect, it is the reverse difference of entropy that generates this energy.
Speak English, Doc. We ain't scientists.
It is a box. This box makes electricity, so it can be useful to make whatever uses electricity. You can make heat, you can make light, you can make electric engines to run, as we made in the racetrack of Latina.
Yeah, so I received an invitation from Andrea Rossi. He was going to put on this demonstration in Latina, Italy. The purpose of the test was to show that an electric vehicle could be powered by an ECAT generator almost indefinitely. And they chose a Renault Twizy, which is a small microcar, which normally has a range of about 70 kilometers on one charge. And they put an ECAT on board this car, and it kept the battery charged throughout a drive which lasted for 201 kilometers. And at the end of the test, the car started at a charge of around 62%. And at the end of the test, the battery charge was measured again, and it was, I can't remember the exact number, I think it was around about 82%. So it had actually not only kept the car running for 6+ hours, it had also increased the charge of the battery during that time. So I thought that was a very impressive result. And I've been a little bit surprised. Well, maybe not too much surprised, but it really hasn't received a lot of attention. It's fairly minimal attention. I think there's a core group of people who've been kind of following the ECAT story over the years, and it's a few thousand people maybe really take it seriously.
Steve Previch, CEO of a private equity fund that invests in cutting-edge energy technologies and supports LENR-type companies. Around 2010, after being on Wall Street for 20 years in emerging markets, I had found Andrea Rossi's work and it started reading up on him way back. Persistent, unusual experimental results that I had seen and gained my long-term interest, obviously, up to this date. I've rigorously researched his technology. I have worked with many other LENR companies, visited labs around the world. I've been to the conferences and I've spoken to people. So I'm pretty excited about, his authenticity, his credibility, in my perspective, and if anything, making the harder effort in his journey to do a good thing for humanity.
I think people just don't take it seriously because it is considered impossible. I don't think it is impossible. I think he's shown it's very possible. And like I said, I think if it was adopted, if this was a technology that was adopted widely, which I think it should be, based on what it can do, I think it could really revolutionize the way the world works.
There are efforts in order to try by a lot of very strong people out there, mentally strong people that want to see this for humanity's change for a better world. And right now, this rationing, this scarcity of energy for the last 100 years hasn't really done much for us except cause a lot of problems.
Energy for free would make life easier for everybody in the world. Somebody would become unhappy of this fact. But in the world there are, I suppose, 6 billion people. I don't know if it is correct to make happy 100,000 people and make worse life for 6 billion people, because this is what is happening now.
Yeah, sadly.
Yes, very sadly. Imagine a world where anytime you turn on your TV set, you hear only good things, good and useful things, and no wars anywhere.
I do believe that it will be for the better of the world and stop a lot of these, skirmishing for land. I mean, if I may, I can tell you that the war in Iraq was strictly, was Greenspan, quote him, if you think this is about the Twin Towers, it's really about oil. You can pull his quote up there. This is about oil. That's what most wars are fought over. It's usually energy and oil and coal. And this will make that obsolete.
I've spent quite a lot of time with Andrea Rossi over the years. I've visited him and talked to him quite a lot. And I find him to be a very serious person, very committed. I've got 100% confidence in that his technology works. The bigger question in my mind has always been, can he make this a commercial success? I think that's probably the bigger challenge for him now. I think it seems like he's perfected the technology to, from a technical point of view, but I think the business world and the surrounding social and political implications, I think that's a big challenge to deal with, because obviously there'll be so many ramifications if it became, a technology that was used widely, because of the competing interests. So obviously you're not going to be too happy to see such a technology come along. So I don't know. That's the bigger challenge, I think, in my mind.
Well, open source is a great idea for technology. But in certain circumstances, you do have to know that, just like with AI and Sam Altman, would he hand this over to someone he believes that would misuse it? and take it, militarize it. With Andrea Rossi, I get it. He wants to make sure it's not misused. And I also believe, there's nothing wrong with the money drop. He needs money in the coffers. He's got to fight these people that will go after his patent. There's literally 10,000 patents out there under LENR. And, he wants to make sure that, he's got that runway to get his technology out there, get the recognition he deserves. And then that way, he can know, his day of coming, that he's done something not just grandiose, but something for humanity.
This is my mission, my professional mission. And the realization of this mission, which means this energy diffused in the world, would give a meaning to my professional life.
You look over history and you see, there was the steam engine, and I guess before the steam engine there was the water wheel, and one type of energy source has gradually superseded others because of its superior characteristics. And I think ECAD has characteristics superior of any other source that I'm aware of.
We've always been shackled to the grid. We've always been, rationed, scarcity, and that rationing and the grid. And of course, that's a great way for people to keep, themselves in the food line, money chain. And at this time, decentralizing that energy, you have ease of access. You have the freedom to know that no one can, knock off your electrical grid. No one can shut you out. And that will take us to closer to a type 1 planet and launch us into a different paradigm altogether. This technology will be a benefit in the long run. It will fill a major scarcity. Desalinations, for one, heavily energy intensive. You can have them everywhere if you need to now. Heat in the Arctic, gardens in the desert, recycling plants. Those will, which are also heavily energy intensive, will make it worthwhile to recycle. And, besides the carbon footprint that it'll remove.
Energy for free without pollution, because, by the way, the reverse direction of entropy does not emit any radiation, does not emit pollution of any kind, does not pollute water, does not pollute air, does not pollute earth. Obviously, the climate change issue would be strongly helped by a form of energy that does not modify the balance between CO2, N2, oxygen, and water vapor in the atmosphere.
If it starts getting a lot of attention, politicians are going to get involved, and when that happens, that anything can happen. I think what would really help him is if there was sort of a groundswell of popular support for it, because politicians are responsive to popular opinion, of course. If he could get a public groundswell of support, and I think that would really give him a lot of strength, because, like I said, everybody would want this technology, in my opinion, or almost everybody would want this technology because of how it could benefit their lives. So I think once people recognize it as being real, I don't think people will be very happy if politicians somehow, or regulators somehow, buried it.
The potential is enormous because this is a technology that can be applied everywhere. And the source is unextinguishable. Cannot be extinguished because, again, it is everywhere. The entropy is operating everywhere. It is in Africa, as in America, as in Asia, as in Oceania, as in anywhere. The potential is unlimited.